Okay, boys and girls, a quick reminder, I'm going to go through a small video on how to complete delta math. Okay, if you recall, when you have to find the intercepts from factored form, I'm going to write down the forms in this top corner because they are going to be extremely useful. I hope that you have these notes already available to you from the class of Tuesday. You should have these notes available to you from the class of Tuesday. This is critical, x minus p and x minus q, that's factored form, and y equals a brackets x minus h squared plus k, okay? The first three skills are going to rely that you remember these three equations. They are different forms, but they are the same equation written differently, okay? This one gives you the y-intercept. This one gives you the x-intercept. And this one gives you the vertex, okay? They are all the same equations, but they are just written differently. So take a look at the following. You have the y-intercept of the following equations. Well, we know that negative x minus 2 has to be equal to 0. We also know that negative x minus 1 equals to 0. Each one of the equations needs to have a product equal to 0 in order for it to be a x-intercept, okay? But look what the question's asking us. Determine the y-intercept. Notice how it says the y-intercept. So we don't need to find the x-intercept as I was about to do. That means you just have to do the multiplication of FOIL, meaning x times negative x, which is x squared, negative, negative, positive. Then we're going to do x times negative 1, negative x times negative 1, negative times negative, positive. Now you're going to have to do the inside, which is going to give you positive 2x, and the last, okay, which is going to give you plus 2. Now you combine the like terms, x squared plus 3x plus 2. What do we see here? We have a 2, meaning our y-intercept has to be 0, 2, 0, 2, which means it has to be this answer, 0, 2. All right, read your question very carefully because it should tell you the exact question, the exact what you need to look for, okay? Let's just erase this and do this again. Sometimes, as you can see this time, it's actually going to ask us what the x-intercept is. And these are going to be a lot nicer because x plus 5 is equal to 0 and x plus 3 is equal to 0. What was x? What was x? Well, x here clearly has to be negative 5 and x here clearly has to be negative 3, comma 0, comma 0, because that's where the x-intercept is. That's where the x-intercept is. And observing that, we see the answer is right here. We're going to click and click, okay? Let's take a look at this one more time, okay? I'm sorry, I don't want to erase what's in the top right corner because it's going to be very useful for what we're about to do in the second. Once again, y-intercept. So we have to multiply x squared, x times 5, plus 5x, negative 1 times x, negative x, and negative 1 times 5, negative 5. X squared minus 4x, sorry, plus 4x minus 5. What do you see here? Negative 5. The y-intercept is always when x is 0, always when x is 0. What do we have? X is 0. So we know that the answer will have to be 0, comma, negative 5. Boom, right there. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Here's one with the x-intercept. Here's one with the x-intercept. Like I said, you only have 4 of these questions and I've just done 5. This is the 5th one. Okay, here you go. Okay. Take a look. What do you have? X-intercept. Well, we know the x-intercept is when x plus 3 is equal to 0 and negative x minus 5 is equal to 0. Product 0, product property. X here has to be negative 3, and x here has to be negative 5. Why? Because if I add 5 to both sides, I have negative x equals 5. But I have negative x, and I want x. So I divide the negative 1 so that I'm only left with x. Therefore, negative 3, comma 0, and negative 5, comma 0, which we can see is right here. Check. Okay. This just requires you to do what you should already have done of knowing how to factor from 0 product property. You've done this in the 4th term of 9th grade, and you've done this in the 1st term of 10th grade. This is the 3rd time that you're going to be doing it. All right, so take a look at the following. Let's erase this. Okay, erase this and erase this, okay? Last one, I'm just going to do one last one just to make sure that everyone is clear on how to do these. If you understand, look at the next skill if you need help. Here you have negative x minus 4 equal to 0. And here you have x minus 1 equal to 0. How did you get negative x minus 4 equal to 0? Well, let's find out what x is. Plus 4 on both sides. Now you have negative x equal to plus 4. But you have negative, so divide it by negative 1. Divide it by negative 1. X equals negative 4. There's one of our x-intercepts. And x minus 1, so if I move the 1 over, I have x equals 1. There we go. Where do we see the x-intercept? Where do we see negative 4 and 1? Negative 4 and 1 appears right here because the x-intercept is always when you have 0, 0 for your y coordinate, And check it out. Boom, boom. Okay. All right. I hope those are straightforward. You only have to do 4 of those, and we just did 6. Here we go. Check out the following. I'm going to keep what we have in the top right corner because this is where it comes in extremely useful. Extremely useful. Take a look. What is the forms that we have? Well, we know that if we have a happy face, the A term has to be positive. So, which are my positive answers? It looks like it could be this one, or it could be this one. We know it can't be this, and we know it can't be this because they're negative. Now we have to observe where exactly my y-intercept is. And when we observe it, it looks like the y-intercept is at 6. 6, which is always the, let's get another color out, C, which is always your y-intercept. So we know the answer has to be this one because it's 6. Check. Next one. Where's the y-intercept in this one? Well, let's take a look again at what we have. Look at what you have in the top right corner. That's what you have in your notes, I hope. Okay. And clearly here, it looks like it's -7, right? -7. So, does this look like a happy face? It does look like a happy face. So I know the A cannot be this one because that's negative and the A is negative here. But here it's positive and here it's positive. What was my y-intercept? -7. So the correct answer has to be the last one. It has to be, this one because of -7, which is where the y-intercept is. There we go. Next one. All right. I'm just going to keep on doing extra questions. I hope if you understand, move on to the next. Move on to the next. If you understand, move on to the next. Where's the y-intercept? It looks to be right, boom, there. So right here, if that appears to be 2, and this is a sad face, meaning it's a negative, so I can cross this out, and I can cross this out. I know that it has to be either this one or this one because of the sad face, the negative. Yeah? And here I see there's a 2, negative 2. So if that's negative 2, I'm looking for, ooh, there it is, negative 2. Checkmate. Yeah, checkmate. Jaque mate. Okay. All right. I hope that one makes sense. That's several of the questions already done. You only have to do 4 of these, and these are all just multiple choice. Okay. Multiple choice. Take a look at the following. Which equation best matches the graph shown below? Well, here you're dealing with the second form. Not standard form, but now you're dealing with, as it says, factored form. And you should hopefully remember that in factored form, you look at the A. It looks like it's a sad face, meaning it definitely cannot be positive, and it can't be positive. It can't be 5, and it can't be positive 5. It has to be negative and negative, right? Now let's take a look. I have 7 and I have 5 for my x-intercepts. So the x-intercepts are always the opuesto. Opuesto. If x is 5 and x is 7, then I clearly, wait, sorry, I don't think I wrote that right. It's not 5. What number does that say right there? 6. And 7. If it's the opuesto, I am looking for the opposites. Opposites. X is 6 and X is 7 right here. What am I looking for in the equation? Los opuestos, because that is what gives us the x-intercept. Los opuestos. Let's take a look at that one more time. All right, let's take a look at that. What you got to do is identify the x-intercepts. Identify the x-intercepts. Madre mia. X-intercepts. Take a look. Is this a happy face? Oh, it's a happy face. Yeah, definitely. What do I have here? 2. What do I have here? 6. So if I'm dealing with a happy face, it can't be this and it can't be this because the A is negative. But here it's positive and here it's positive. Meaning I'm looking for the opuestos, the opposites. Opposite. X equals 2 and X equals 6. So the opuesto would be negative 2 and negative 6, which I see is right here and here. It has to be this one because the x-intercepts are the opuestos in the equation, the opuesto. Let's take a look at one more, 2 more. Like I said, you're only doing 4 of these, so I'll do 5 of them in the video. If you understand, move on. If you understand, move on. X is 2 and X is 5 here, right? X is 2 and X is 5 here. Is this a sad face? Yeah, it's a sad face. So it can't be this one because that's a positive, and it can't be this one because that's a positive. But if it's a sad face, as it's making, then I have to have the opuestos, negative 2 and negative 5. Huh, where do I see negative 2 and negative 5? Well, I see that it's a sad face, and here I have positives. So here it has to be negatives, the opuesto. Right? If my x-intercepts are positive, I am looking for the equation with the opposite. Opposite. Okay? With the opposite. Take a look. All right. One last one. One last one for good luck. If you understand, move on. If you understand, take a look at later on. Here I'm dealing with a happy face, right? The curve is going up. So I know that my A is going to have to be positive. Meaning it can't be this, and it can't be this. But now I look at my equation and I see, I've got negative 4 and negative 1. X equals negative 4 and x equals -1 for my x-intercepts. The x-intercepts, therefore, in the equation have to be 4 and 1, the opuesto, which I can clearly see I have right here. It has to be this equation, 4 and 1. Boom, checkmate, jaque mate. All right, I hope those make sense to everyone. Okay, now take a look at the following. Take a look at the following. Let's just erase what we have already. Make room for the next one. The next one is the tricky one because it's something you may have not seen before. It's the vertex form. And the only thing we need to remember about the vertex, because the vertex is always going to be h comma k. And the vertex is always the punto más sur, south, the minimum, or the punto más norte, the maximum. And here we have a minimum. No matter what, if it's minimum or maximum, something to take into consideration is that your h value is always the opposite. Because look at the equation, negative h. All right? So let's take a look at what we have. Let's take a look at what we have as options. Here, it appears that my vertex, and a useful way is identifying it, is right here at -5, 4. And because it's a happy face, I know that my a term has to therefore be positive. And unfortunately here, they're giving us all positive. So we can't do the 50-50, but I can determine that my h has to be opposite and my k is whatever number I see for my y coordinate of 4. What do I have here? 4. So we know that it can't be this because the y coordinate is 4. The y coordinate is 4, but the x coordinate, remember these are x comma y of the vertex, x comma y of the vertex. But my h coordinate has to be the opposite. So if I have -5, my h therefore has to be 5 in the equation. Meaning I see that right here, 5. Let's identify it. Check. New problem. All right. Let's take a look at the, I'm going to do a couple of these because I know they're tricky. I'm going to do a couple of these because I understand that they're tricky, okay? Sometimes we're going to be given a little bit of assistance where we can see that it's a sad face. So we know that it has to be -a. I'm going to circle that a right here, everyone. You have standard vertex form. It has to be negative because it's a sad face. Right? Where do we have a negative? We have it here and we have it here. So what's this punto right here that we have? Clearly, it appears to be -2, -5. Well, the k is always going to be correct, -5. I got that here and I got that here. But the h is my vertex for the x coordinate. And if that's -2, x therefore is going to have to be +2. Meaning it has to be, boom, this one, right? This one, okay? This is really just coming down to seeing what you have and analyzing what you see in the equation. New problem. Seeing what you have and analyzing what you have in the equation. Take a look at the forms, and I hope you have those in your notes because that is useful, extremely, extremely useful. What do we have here? Here we have a vertex at 1, -1. And since it appears to be a happy face, I can cross this as an option off, and I can cross this as an option off. Now I know that my k is -1, and I know my y is -1 because that's what we have as my y coordinate. But observing what we have for my x coordinate, if it's 1, in the equation it has to be -1, el opuesto. And I see that right here in the first term. Boom, check. All right, in the first term, check. All right, let's take a look at what we have. I'm going to do a couple of these. If you understand, you guys can move on to the next skill. If you understand, move on to the next skill. Here it looks like we have a positive. Good, but we have a positive in all of the equations, right? We have a positive and a positive, so it's not really very useful. But we can see right here that a negative 3, 5 is right here, right? Now, we know that 5 for k is what we need for our coordinate. And here we see the two options, 5 in the equation. So we know that this can't be an option, and we know that this one can't be an option. That leaves us with negative 3. How do we analyze this? In the equation, it's the opposite. In the equation, it's the opposite. And here I see negative 3, so it can't be this one, and that leaves us with this one right here. All right. Check, check. Jaque mate. Okay. Let's just take one more. I'm doing quite a few of these because I know these are going to be tricky. I know these are going to be tricky. Pay attention if you're struggling. Pay attention if you're struggling. Take a look. Now, here, it looks like our vertex is right here. And the coordinate of that is 5, negative 5. 5, negative 5. Interesting. So negative 5 is going to have to be our k, and our h is going to have to be el opuesto. H equals negative 5 because it's the opposite of 5. If it says 5 in my x-coordinate, it means it's the opuesto, the opposite. So where do I see negative 5 and negative 5? Well, we know that it's a negative, right, because of the sad face. So I can cross this option off and this option off because of the A. And then I look at it and I say, I need h to be negative 5. And it has to be this one because h equals negative 5 in this equation. H is negative 5. So we know it has to be this one right here. Okay. Jaque mate. All right. One last one in case you are still struggling with this. One last one. One last one. Okay. Final one. I'm going to go slowly on this one. I'm going to go really slowly. What do we see here? Well, we see that our vertex is negative 3, negative 4. Negative 3, negative 4. Well, our k is going to have to be negative 4, and our h, that has to equal k, and our h will have to be the opposite, equals h. And it looks like it's a happy face, but they're only giving us choices of happy faces. So where do I see 3 in my h? I see it right here, and I see it right here. So these can't be it, and this one can't be it, right? But I know that k has to be negative 4, which means that if this is positive 4, it can't be this one, meaning that the only other option is this one. All right. Process of elimination, highly recommended. Process of elimination for these questions, okay? All right. Let's take a look at the next skill, because this is where you have to do a little bit of math, okay? You have to maybe get a piece of paper for the next one, because staring at the screen, I promise you, will not help you. But you should know this because you've done this before many times. Rewrite the quadratic in standard form. So wait, it's telling us that we're going from this into standard form, from factored form that tells us about the x-intercepts into standard form that gives us the y-intercepts. You already did this skill, I hope, in the previous one that we've just done. So what do we do here? We're doing x and x, so x squared plus 5x. Well, I'm going to do the process, sorry. Okay, x squared minus 6x and plus x and minus 6. and we have to multiply that by 2. So we're multiplying 2 by x squared minus 5x minus 6. What do we have? 2x squared minus 10x minus 12. Yeah, let's type that in. 2x squared minus 10x minus 12. Here we go. Check it out. As it says right here, and I'm just going to go through this because you guys should know how to do this already. You've done this many times before. You are going to be multiplying the two binomial products. Multiplying the two binomial products using what you've already learned of FOIL. Please don't tell me you forgot this because you have done it so many times before. FOIL to get an answer. That then needs to be simplified always with the b term to give you b, always. Then you are going to multiply. Multiply the 2 with everything on the inside. El 2 quiere ir a la fiestica por adentro de la casita. And only for him to get to inside the fiestica, he needs to multiply and talk to everyone. Yeah? So please try and remember that. Let's take a look at another one. Do a couple of these. This one, similar situation. Very similar situation. What are you going to do? Factored into standard, right? Factored into standard form. Meaning you have to do the multiplication. X squared, x times -8, -8x. -1 times x, -x. -1 times 8, -8, plus 8. X squared minus 9x plus 8, right? And you're going to have to multiply that with, what do we have on the outside? Well, this is always our a term. No matter what, the a term wants to go inside the fiestica. He wants to go inside the house, and he needs to multiply with everyone in order to get inside of the house. Minus 24. Okay? So, in order for the a term to get inside of the house, he has to multiply with everyone. Why did I put positive 27? Negativo, negativo, positivo. Okay, let's do another one. I hope these ones are straightforward. You have done them before. You have done them many times before. If you understand, move on to the next skill. Same thing as always. Multiply the x and the x. Multiply the outside. Remember, FOIL, everyone. First, outside, inside, last. -4x. -3x. Positive 12. X squared. -4, -3, -7x, plus 12. What's that going to have to multiply with? Well, I see a 3 here. So a 3 has to go on the outside. I'm given 3x squared minus 21x plus 36. Right? 3x squared minus 21x plus 36. I'll do one more just in case. But chicos, like I said, I really hope no one has problems with these. You do have 2 attempts. Okay, I can't do that with the multiple choice, but you do have 2 attempts on these. And you did do these many times, I would hope. Many times, I would hope. Well, let's do it again. And look what we have. X minus 3 times x minus 3. X squared minus 6x plus 9 times -4. -4x squared plus 24x minus 36. Type it in. -4x squared plus 24x minus 36. Boom. Ka-ching. Yeah, ka-ching. All right. Everyone got that? I would hope so. Take a look at the vertex. This one's a little difficult, and it's a little bit different. Why? Because you have this. And that right there is the same thing as x minus 1 times x minus 1, which is x squared minus 2x, just simplifying the process, plus 1. So what do we have? We have negative brackets x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then we have the plus 4 that is left. How do we write this out? You have to do negative x squared plus 2x minus 1, and we still have the plus 4. Don't forget about this. Don't forget about this. Very easy mistake to fall into, which is negative x squared plus 2x plus 3, right? Type it in. Negative x squared plus 2x plus 3. Boom. Check out what they tell you. Check out what they tell you. All right. They tell you quite clearly you have to expand the squared, meaning exactly how we did it, x minus 1 times x minus 1. And then apply FOIL. And then apply FOIL. Then apply FOIL. From having applied FOIL, you should be able to see that you have x squared minus 2x plus 1. But it needs to multiply with the outside, the a term, to give you negative x squared plus 2x minus 1. And this is where you must remember this. Please don't forget this. Combine the numbers. Combine the numbers. Negative 1 plus 4 is, boom, 3. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. X minus 3 squared. So x minus 3 times x minus 3, which is, well, there's a simple way of doing this. It's the b term is always el doble. El doble. Yeah. There we go. Negative 5 plus 9 is still there. Y plus 9 is what we had on the outside, right? Negative 5x squared plus 30x minus 45 plus 9 equals negative 5x squared plus 30x minus 45 plus 9. Cuando se juntan un negativo con un positivo, tomamos la diferencia, que es 36. Which number was bigger? 45. What did it have? Negativo. Everyone sees that. Yeah, that's a trick from 9th grade. A trick from 9th grade. Negative 5x squared plus 30x minus 36. Boom. Okay. I hope this makes sense to everyone. Okay, I'm just going to go through it again. You're going to want to see your notes from Tuesday, because without the notes of Tuesday, this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a challenge. Okay, without the notes from Tuesday, this is going to be a challenge. Please take in your notes from Tuesday because you 100% need it. Have a good day and let me know if you need anything. Ciao, ciao.